TitleMatchNetwork.com.
One time, that one night we got wasted. Yeah,
one night. How about the one when, I don't know if I told the story. Remember the one when Kid got all messed up and it was like when Hunter first joined us? And Hunter, like everybody was smacking Kid to get, come on, Kid, get out of there. And Hunter smacked me while went, hey,
man, whoa, you're a little bit new here. You slapped him.
You can't hit him.
Right. That was great to have him. Because before you got there, Sean always drove. I never drive unless I'm with Kid.
Right.
If it's me and Kid, then I have to drive. Because Kid's the only wheelman worse than me.
Right.
But then when Kev came, it's like, we'd be stumbling out of the bar. Well, you got to drive. Why? You're the biggest.
Have more body weight. So then I had to go to the 50 miles. I wouldn't get a buzz on the 50 miles outside the town. Everybody else would be just out of their minds. I'd just be driving. I'd see a sign, Dayton, 52 miles. I'm in.
The only time I got to ever drive with you was on the way to WrestleMania 18, crossing the border into Toronto.
We're crossing the border, and we've got I guess you would call them pills on us. And we're sitting there, prescription drugs. We're drinking wine. I'm drinking wine. He's not drinking wine.
I wasn't even drinking that.
No, you weren't drinking.
No, not until after.
And so as we're getting there, we realize we're going to go over the border. We probably shouldn't have these.
Well, we chose to drive instead of fly
because we both had they couldn't get us in because we've had a couple of arrests in our lives.
Yeah, I was young.
I was foolish gangster. But so it's just we didn't have a whole lot of pills with us. It was one of those deals we kind of divvied them up and went instead of just being well,
we could throw them out the window.
Yeah, you can throw them out the window, or you can throw them down your throat. We went. So we threw them down our throat, and we get to the place, and the guy tells us, pull over.
Do I look fucked up?
Yes. The guy wants to get WrestleMania tickets, and we're in this is the border, the Canadian border.
It's 3 or 4.
Yeah, it's 3 or 4 in the morning, and Scott's got a Halliburton, and he's he's trying to get it up on the counter, and I'm walking, we're I look at Scott, the guy goes in the back row, Scott, look fucked up. He goes, dude, don't say anything. We got out, we went to Tim Hortons and ate donuts, and I think we just sat there for a while, didn't we? Drank coffee, just sat there
luckily the dude was a fan. And I think, didn't the office set us up with stuff so that
that
event?
Yeah.
We had WrestleMania tickets, we had merchandise, we had everything.
We had everything to get
because they weren't sure even with the legal documents they're going to let us in. We both had gun charges.
Which is always good. They like the gun charges.
I know you told us about the diner when
it's all about the
lookers.
No, the one when everybody went to
Puka Park.
Pittsburgh. No, not that one. The one we walked in and
hips up.
And we walk in, but we're all just absolutely filled out of our minds. We look and there's the cop convention. That was one when they gave Sean the option to either go to jail, go to the hospital.
What town? Remember?
We left Indianapolis. We were going
Was that the Summit?
No, it was a different time. It was the one where it was I sent Hunter out to get all the beer bottles. I think on the way to the thing was you were in pretty bad shape. You might not remember.
You might. I plead insanity. I'm crazy about that kind of stuff.
You might not remember.
I don't remember because it wasn't
To each of you guys, what made your matches against Sean so good?
Sean.
I was anything. What's the variable was the same in both matches? Sean.
Yeah.
Sean was great.
Yeah, Sean is great. He the last time I talked to him, I said, "Quit working so hard." I said, "Why do you still take so many bumps?" Because I'm a mark.
I just talked to him 5 minutes ago. I talked to him on the way here.
He's I don't know. I remember when I first got to work with Sean was after he'd come out of that rocker tag team thing. And in that era, the guys who were considered big were working strong for Vince. And he was a tag team guy. So they used to do spots with Warlord or Barbarian where one guy would drop kick, the other guy drop kick, and he wouldn't go down, the double drop kick, he'd go down. So I remember Sean talking to me, and I knew Sean from Kansas City and from Minneapolis. And he said, but at that time, Razor was getting kind of a big push. And Sean was as well, but Razor was getting pushed. And I remember he talked to me like, if he was being real political about it. Like, if you want to sell, what can I do to get you in trouble? I said, punch me, bam, I'm in trouble. You don't have to hit me with the chair.
Especially, he throws a good punch. That's the whole thing. Somebody throws a good punch. It's so easy to sell it.
Right. Plus, I think if you just sell.
Well, it's not
Kev's 7 foot, and you
sold.
Rey Mysterio beat you.
But the thing is that, the thing with Sean, though, is, I remember the first time I met him, I'd seen him on TV and really never talked to him or anything else. And the first time I was in Albany, New York, was the first night I started, and I walked in the locker room. He's like a lot bigger than I thought he'd be. He's like 6'1.5". Then he turns around and goes, "Hey, I'm Sean." Voice doesn't come out of that body, does it? What? "I'm Sean." All right, you're Sean.
Yeah, he's just a lot of guys. Sean had a real teeny bop fan base. Like when he would go to the ring, he got a real high pitch.
Right.
And then because he would go out every night before me, and I hear that I'm the sexy ball, and that meant like I'm in the back loosening up, time to go to work. Like his music was cueing me, time to go to work. And then go out, and there's my buddy in the ring, and my other buddy on the outside.
You know why you're going to get over that, don't you?
Because I had cool music. Kev told me that when he first met me. Real serious. Man, you know why you're going to get over it?
Got a buzz on that.
You know why you're going to get over it? Oh, man, why? You got cool ring. But Sean's deceivingly, he's a lot bigger than he looks on TV. And I think because he's so athletic, that people think, well, he's got to be a little teeny guy, He's not, and he's stiff, and his stuff looks good, and he lays it in.
And he shifts gears. Sean has a prick mode.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, he's mellow a little bit.
I still think if you paint him in a corner, it's there. It's definitely there.
Yeah, I'd like to find out.
Huh. Do you guys have any?
Some guys, this guy we know from Canada had the strap, and he was happy making $400,000 a year. It's like just if you could win every night. It's like, no, brother. You have to raise that. You got to go in there and complain. You're the man. It's business.
Speaking of Brett, do you think that Vince?
Hey.
Do you guys feel that Vince was responsible for a lot of the heat between Sean and Brett?
Well, I'm sure. It's just good for business for them. They always stir the shit any chance they get. It just makes for better television. Two guys, especially back then when the show now is so heavily scripted. There's nothing organic that happens on the show anymore. But back then, guys shot on interviews, and it was. I don't know, man. Two pricks.
Yeah. Well, see, when they went live, that was the whole new thing. All his TV was all 50 matches in one day.
Yeah, it was all canned, and you did your interviews in the back. Everything was
Yeah, you did 10, 15. Do it over.
Okay, now Albany, market specifics. So it was a different business. Once it became live, then all of a sudden, Scott and I always had the, it's easier to ask for forgiveness than for permission. So we just did it and come back and go, sorry.
Plus, what happened was when they went live, in my opinion, then the guys who were really over were over, and the guys who weren't so over weren't so over. Because if you watch SmackDown, you can see that it's post-produced. You can hear loud crowd reactions, but when you look at the audience, they're not reacting.
Right.
Then when they have people who come out who are over, then they pan the audience and show it. Like on Raw, when it's live, you're going to hear the crowd reaction. Like when Triple H comes out, they always pan the audience because he's over, like Rover.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is that always kind of dictates who's on that roster. You can't have a guy that's not over and be on that Raw roster. It just doesn't really work. So, and that's always going to be their flagship show, because it's a live show.
TitleMatchNetwork.com